I'm Sharice Guerrero Spencer. I go by Reese, and I'm AJ's sister-in-law. And I'm here to discuss a little bit about my younger brother, Todd. Yeah, so our biological parents divorced when we were quite little, actually. Our mother had addiction problems with oh my gosh, what was it? Heroin. And so when my dad found out, they divorced. But leading up to that time, we were involved in the Catholic Church. We were raised in Catholicism. Even though my parents divorced, we saw both parents, and we were involved with both sides of the family as far as like family stuff and events, holidays, birthdays, and things like that. It wasn't until my mom got involved with the law that she left us at that point. And then from there, kind of our dad kept up those traditions. He remarried. And so, we have a lot of good memories of Christmas traditions that I've passed down to my children. And obviously I've spent made new holiday traditions with my family-in-law now. But yeah. They were both born and raised in Redding, actually, California. They were high school sweethearts. I just remember never being really close with my mom. I always felt that she did favor my brother, like he was the favored one. However, he did get in trouble a lot. I was kind of what my dad would call the kid that he could just say, Sharice Marie, and I'd be like, sorry, Daddy. And he used to joke, I'd have to run around chasing your brother with a 2x4. That was his joke. But he was like, your brother constantly was in things, wanting to cause trouble. Our mom did come into our life later on, and I did harbor a lot of resentment with her because, being the older sister, I did a lot of, my brother's not supposed to be doing that, or we're not supposed to be eating candy, typical older sister behavior. And I got a lot of, stop being his mom, stop telling him what to do. And so I always saw in my eyes that she did favor him and kind of babied him, and he got away with a murder with her, basically. Not so much with my dad, though. My dad was very strict with him.
Did he acknowledge it that way, or was that just something that you noticed?
That is something that I noticed. I would say that my brother had a very complicated relationship with my dad, though. He told me, oh gosh, when did they meet? I think my dad met my stepmom when I was 7 going on 8, so he was about like 5 or 6. And he told me later on in life that he always resented my dad remarrying because he felt like that never allowed our biological mother to come back in our lives or have a chance to reconnect with us because of that. Yeah. So our biological mother left us very early because of the heroin addiction. She got caught up in some legal stuff and basically had to pick jail or giving up the people that she knew was doing the drug deals. And so at that time she had left us. And so my brother and I became very close. I became almost like a motherly figure. And he did okay with that. Like, we really were making it work. We had each other to lean on, to be with. And so then my dad met my stepmom, as I said. And that was not going very well at all. And I was still trying to pick up a lot of that, like, slack and in a way help my parents out because I could see that Todd was not adjusting very well to that, and trying to like help him and help them out with that relationship because of the bond I had with Todd. And our biological mother did find out through her mom that my dad was planning on marrying this other woman, and she did have a time where she came back trying to fix things and repair things. Well, my dad basically gave her an ultimatum and said, you have back pay and child support. You either pay it, you go to jail for the time, or you give up custody of the kids. And my mom chose to give up custody of us. And so she did. And then she left again. And that is really where I saw something change in my brother. Because in that time also that was happening, we were having visitations with her. And I probably wasn't doing the right thing by my brother because I didn't want to see my mother. So I was fighting a lot with my parents, but they wouldn't allow him to go over there unless I went. So I would kind of begrudgingly go, but I would fight a lot with my mother. And so I think that kind of messed with him too. Cause he was in this like, I love my sister and I respect my sister, but I want to make this relationship with my mom work. And, my sister's not getting along with my mom and I can feel that from them. And then my mom just up and left. And at the time, this information about knowing that she gave up custody and all this reason came later in life when I myself questioned, grandmother, dad, biological mother. But at the time, that's really where I saw that change with Todd. He kind of started shutting down a lot.
Experiences.
It was actually okay. He was my best friend and my confidant. Honestly, the worst times we had was when we started hitting, that awkward age time of your life, middle school, high school, where, I started being more interested in like female things and friends and sports, and he was still a little kid. And, it wasn't really till like puberty hit for both of us that it really started getting awkward between us. And then my own problems with abandonment and all of that started coming up. But I would say as little kids, it really didn't bother me because I always felt like I had my brother. And I really know that he always felt that he had me. And it was just like that awkward middle school, high school started affecting things, and we weren't really as close anymore as well. It kind of started falling apart. Yes, I actually tell my kids this story all the time. I have two that I always tell all the time. Well, actually, I should just tell the grape story that my daughter just told you about. We used to go to my grandma's house and put her fan on high speed and throw grapes up at it because it would slice them in half. And then sometimes we'd find them, sometimes we wouldn't, but we just thought it was hilarious to break them in half. We also got in a lot of trouble. So I remember one time we had a really steep hill, and we went on rollerblades and thought that was a good idea to go down it. I remember screaming at him to help me because we just were like going on like an incline like this, and he didn't. And so I ended up falling in a cactus bush. That was pretty funny. Childhood specifically, I have a lot of people, like even your sister can tell me like, I remember my kindergarten teacher and I remember things that happened in first and second and on and on. I would say kindergarten through 5th grade, no memory of at all. No, we didn't really. That didn't really happen until like we were way older and we reconnected as adults. And even then, it's been kind of hit and miss still as adults. I feel like I'm more open with him about my feelings with stuff, and he still very much keeps it inside. Yes, I would say yeah. I know for sure it does with my brother. Specifically, I was just talking to you about the incident. He has a daughter, and he is in an active addiction right now, and so he has not been being in contact with his daughter or being consistent with his daughter, and she's about the same age that our biological mother left us, and that is bringing up a lot of resentment inside of me with him, because I feel like he's doing a lot of the stuff that our parents did, and that's something I swore to myself, and we swore to each other that we would never do to our kids someday. And it wasn't even talked about. My dad didn't even ever ask us, like, how are you feeling? How are you doing? I would say now as an adult, my stepmother was very narcissistic, and so we definitely were not allowed to talk about our feelings. It was, you're just a kid. You're just acting up because you're, a teenager or whatever, especially for my brother. For me, no. I have done lots of counseling. I've done lots of self-reflection. I have had a lot of safe partnerships that have allowed me to kind of open up. My brother, on the other hand, 1,000%. He barely even opens up to me anymore. It's very hard for me to get anything out of him. Even now with things that he has going on, we're loosely in contact, I would say. I can't get anything out of him. It's like trying to pull water out of the desert in the middle of the summer. It's like, come on, tell me something. 100%. I am very hard on myself. Actually, your sister gets after me a lot about that. And a lot of that goes back to being the kid that was expected to be perfect as a child. And so my brother was the one always getting in trouble. So when he did anything, like passing high school, for example, it was like, oh my God, thank God you made it and survived, where it was just expected of me. Even though I got 4.0, awards like crazy, acceptances to colleges. It was just like, oh yeah, good job. It's expected. When I graduated from college, it was just like, oh yeah, that's expected. So actually, now that I realize it, all of my accomplishments as a child were downplayed. And so I definitely do that as an adult. And what I see that I do, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's expected of me. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing that. And your sister gets after me a lot about that. She's like, no, what you did was a big deal. I would say the only time it's hard is like around holidays and things like that, when people talk about like specifically like going to see like their parents or things like that. And then that can be a touchy subject because me and my brother both don't really have a relationship with either side of our family at this point. So that's probably the only time I really like make those comparisons, just because of that tumultuous relationship. But other than that, not really. Well, that's a good question. When we first made connections, at that time, I was a single person. I was early 20s, more like in like the dating stage of life. So we probably definitely related more in that early 20s stage of life compared to now. I have responsibilities with family, a spouse. I'm a mother now. So I definitely think our priorities have changed in that, as becoming a mother, I have taken on like that role now of a mother that I never had, and trying to change that generational, addiction that my family has gone through, and being there for my kids. And my brother is just not there right now. So it makes a difference. He's still very much stuck in like his early 20s stage of life, I would say. Good question. Definitely a combination of both. Sometimes exerting myself can take a lot of energy. Sometimes I do feel like I have to put on a mask. Not so much around you, but just like in the world in general, there's still my own things that I deal with sometimes, and it depends on the day, the month, the year, sometimes the situations, but I would say I'm a mix of the both. I love to be around people, but also it sucks a lot of my energy, and I need a lot of downtime too. Yes, I absolutely am an agreeable person. It's something actually I'm working on, to say no more to things. Again, that goes back to the trauma I had talked about with being abandoned, feeling like if I share my feelings, emotions, true thoughts about something, that somebody might leave me, think less of me. So yeah. Definitely acclimating to new situations and environments is very difficult for me. I'm actually trying to change careers right now. And I'm finding it extremely difficult because I'm struggling with a sense of loss in that in itself, sense of identity loss. It's somewhere I don't want to be, but also at the same time, it's all I know, and it's scary. I definitely like to be a lone wolf with things and do things by myself. That was one area my brother and I didn't do very well together, was working together on like projects and things, just because he was definitely more, what's the word I'm looking for? He was very easily distracted as a child. So like if we were put on a chore task to work together, I kind of took command and just did it. So we would do it right the first time and be done with it. And he kind of always let me take that role. So I find myself now as an adult definitely not asking for help or being somebody who wants people to help them. I'd rather just do it by myself.
When I first entered recovery, As an addict, I had to look back and think about all the people that I hurt, especially the ones who I love the most. And I think about how much it took for them to forgive me. What I didn't realize was one of the hardest things that I'd ever have to do was learn how to forgive myself. If there was one thing, just one thing that you can tell the person who you love the most, that you want to help, but there's nothing that you can do for them anymore, what is that one thing that you would say?
God, if there was one chance I got to say something to you, I'd tell you that I have and always will love you. You're my little brother. You're my best friend in this whole world. And I understand that you're going through this, but things that probably I will never understand. And I will always love you and forgive you. Because I know that the you that I know is still in there, and I know you're battling a lot. But please do not fuck up your daughter's life like Mom did to us. She deserves so much better. She deserves to have you there. And I can't let you do it to my daughters either, so that would be what I would hope that you would try to fight for. Because they don't deserve to have the same things happen to them that we had happen to us. And you're doing the same things Mom did. So that's what I would hope that you would pause and think about. That's what I would tell them.